Hello, Architecture 1 students. What we're going to start on today is drawing or drafting our, our pier and beam foundation in plan view. Okay, that's looking down from above. And here's what we're drawing. It looks really simple. It doesn't look like it's that complicated, and it's really not. There are a couple of nuances that you have to be very careful of that involve building codes. So we have to pay attention to building codes when we're doing this. But overall, I'll just kind of show you what we have. We have these dashed lines, which represent the footings that extend outside of the foundation wall, okay, or the stem wall. The stem wall is right here in the center. And what is a stem wall exactly? Let's see. I think I briefly showed you in the last video when we were going over kind of the review, but I didn't really emphasize on it. So I'm going to pull one up really quick, show you what a stem wall is. So a stem wall, if you look in this picture, this is the stem wall right here. And the stem wall does go below the earth's surface, and here's the footing. This is why we do the footing in hidden lines, because they are below the earth. Here are some photographs, a photograph of stem walls, kind of a blurry picture there. Sorry about that. Whoops. Just don't do that. Let's go here. Okay, but you can see here how the stem wall sticks up above the ground, and the house is pretty much built on top of that. Another picture of some stem walls. Okay, and this is in a kind of a multi-level situation. Here's just another drawn picture and kind of how all that stuff would look, how it would appear. Okay, so that's basically a stem wall, and this is the footing. So getting away from that, getting back to our drawing, we also have these holes. It look like holes in the wall. These are vents. You have to have air vents, and there are codes that govern that. There's also a code that governs this access door right here. There has to be an access door for someone to get in so they can crawl under here and work on some stuff. This line going through the middle is a center line, but what it does is it indicates the beam. Now the beam is a horizontal component. That is like the main primary support for all of that up under the house. It is what basically divides the load into different parts. So in this case, we have one beam, so it's dividing the load into two overall sections. Then we also have our piers, which are right here, our footings and piers. This square with the broken lines, that is our footing. We draw them with hidden lines because it is under the earth. And or most of it's under the earth. Some of it actually sticks above the earth, but we still just go ahead and draw it with hidden lines. The piers right here, the piers that we're using in this drawing are going to be wooden, so they're just solid line squares. They're 4x4. And when it comes to a lot of this stuff, like your footings, your piers, and the sizes that you're using, the sizes of your stem walls, all those are figured out by an engineer, a structural engineer. So you don't have to figure those out. About the only thing you have to figure out when you're drawing it, one, is who you're getting the information from. So you got to get the information from the engineer to know how to do your footings and your stem walls and your piers. And then, of course, as far as the ventilation, you can look that up yourself in building code and then distribute those vents yourself. That you do have to do a little mathematical figuring on. All right, but going back to our notes. Now here are the notes, and I want you to take notes. You are to write these down, and you are to show me your notes. You are to write them down either by hand or typewritten on your keyboard, and then send me a copy of either your Word document or the photograph of your handwritten notes. But these are basically your notes that I'm going to go over right here. Some things that we have to recall about doing our vents and things like that. Now, building code says you must have a minimum of 1 square foot of opening space per 150 square foot of crawl space. So 1 square foot of vent space per 150 foot of crawl space up under here. Okay. Building code also says that there must be at least one access door that is a minimum of 24 inches by 18 inches. So that's 24 inches wide by 18 inches tall, and that's going to be right there. Okay, now what we have to do after we draw this, I'm going to go over the figuring for the vents first so you can learn this, take notes on it, and then you can figure out your vent placement and which I'm also going to go over when I draw it as well. But the first thing we have to do is figure out how many vents we need. So if we have a 30-foot by 50-foot, which is what this is a 30 by 50-foot foundation, equals 150-foot square of area. Okay, so 150, 1,500. Okay, so 1,500 divided by 150 equals 10. So that means I need 10 openings of at least 1 square foot each to ventilate the crawl space. Okay. And this is a vent right here. So I put the picture here so you can see what a vent looks like. So that's a crawl space vent. Vent covers do not come in 12 by 12, okay? So remember, 1 square foot would actually be 12 inches by 12 inches. So a 12-inch by 12-inch square is 1 square foot. However, the vent covers do not come in that size, but they do come in sizes such as 12 by 10, which is the size that we're going to use. They do come in other sizes as well, but I broke it down to 12 by 10, trying to make the math as easy as possible because I want you to learn the process, not necessarily sit there and have to figure out all the mathematics. Okay, so we must also understand that vents are made with borders that are approximately 1 inch thick, and that varies depending on the vent that you use. So you do need to, in advance, kind of have an idea of the vent that's going to be used before you can actually, you could probably design them, but you definitely want to know before it actually gets poured. But anyway, so they're approximately 1 inch thick, the borders that go around the vent. So the actual vent opening size for a 12 by 10 is actually only going to be 10 by 8. So that is the hole that we're going to cut in the wall to make the ventilation is 10 by 8. So the actual space to be cut is 10 by 8. Okay, now I'm going to show you again this vent. Get closer, and you can see how it's got like a 1 inch border all the way around. Okay, so that basically adds 2 inches to each side, or 2 inches to each dimension, I should say. Okay, so anyway, a 10 by 8 inch vent opening will give us 80 inches square of open space per vent. Now, if I need 10 vents of 1 foot square each, my total square inches of vent space. So here I'm figuring out what is my total square inches of vent space, of open space. Okay, so that will equal 12 by 12 by 10, or 12 times 12 times 10, which equals a total of 1,440 square inches. Okay, so that's what I basically did is I took that square footage and I turned it into square inches. So the third thing here is with 1,440 inches square divided by the 80 inches square that I determined my 10 by 8 vents are going to give me each, okay, equals 18 each. So I need 18 of those 10 by 8 vents. Okay, I need 18 10 by 8 vents. And I want to distribute those around the foundation. I want there to be some symmetry to it. One for professionalism, and two, so I get good air circulation underneath of the foundation. So you can see those are all spaced accordingly. I've got 9 here. No, wait, I've got 6 on each horizontal side, and I got 3 on each vertical side. All right, so that makes a total of 18, 6, 12, 18. So I'm well vented. I am going to show you how to do that, and there's actually a couple of ways to do this so that you space these appropriately. They don't have to be you want them to be as perfect as possible, but sometimes there's things that are going to get in your way that's going to keep you from doing that, and I'll show you that too. So let's go ahead on the next video now that you've got all your notes and everything. So hopefully you've written all these down. If you want to, you can pause the video right here and just kind of go over that and write all that stuff down so you'll know how to do this. There you go. Now write all that down. Put it in your notebook. Pause the video right here and do that. Okay. Now I'm going to end the video because then I'm going to start a new video starting to show you how to actually do the drawing of the foundation.